you do not allow these limiting beliefs to overtake you, you can have a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is one where you realize that you can do whatever it is you set your mind to. Why is it every time you're trying to be great, there are obstacles, there are naysayers, there are things that are inside that make you reluctant to pull the trigger, to take the first step? Do you sometimes feel like you're not enough? Are you telling yourself that, someone's better than you, or you're not going to possibly be able to achieve a goal that large? Are you tired of feeling unaccomplished, like you're never going to get there? Are you telling yourself that? Are you tired of feeling like you take 2 steps forward and there's always 4 steps back? Listen, boss, those are limiting beliefs, and I want you to stop lying to yourself. Today's the day. Buckle in, make sure you're subscribed, click that notification bell, and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, because I know it's going to be exactly what you need. Now, I'm out and about, so I'm going to be popping in, giving you each one of these as we go along. Don't forget to stick around to the end, because I really think you need to know where these things are coming from and how you can get rid of them. And I've got a special gift that I want to tell you about at the end. I want to explain it all to you. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so did you know that the National Science Foundation says that we have about 50,000 thoughts a day? Now, the little voices that you hear in your head saying things like, you'll never be able to get that done, or that's not good for you, or you can't do that, or you're not enough. Those, my love, my boss beauty, those are limiting beliefs. And you got to stop telling yourself that, because the majority of those 50,000 thoughts you're having a day are like that. How in the world do you think you're going to accomplish your dreams and attain the success that you're looking for? So let me get into the next point that I want to make with you today about these pesky little limiting beliefs as we head to my next destination. So why do we have these limiting beliefs? Well, for one, if we're thinking about 50,000 things a day and 95% of those thoughts are being repeated every day, and the thoughts that we're having are negative about ourselves, of course that's why we're having negative thoughts and negative beliefs. We're on to the next stop. But as I make my way into the store, let's talk about the why. The why of it all. I don't know about you, but I'm the type of chick, I want to know why things are happening. And so let's get into that. Why do you have these limiting beliefs? Well, quite simply, because you're believing the hype. You are believing the hype, sis. And I told you to stop listening to those lies. Somewhere along the line, you are telling yourself these things. Remember 50,000 thoughts a day? Well, guess what? From that exact same study, they're saying that of those 50,000 thoughts, we're repeating, or you are repeating 95% of those thoughts daily. Okay? So if your thoughts are negative, if you're thinking negative things about yourself, then guess what? You're repeating those every day, and you start to believe the hype. You have to understand what you need to do and be your best altogether anyway. And we talk about that all the time here on how you can be real, how you can be authentic and transparent. So why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we have these negative thoughts? Why do we repeat them, and why do we begin to believe them? Well, one of the things that I can say is absolutely true for myself is it is a protection mechanism. It is a way to protect myself from bad things happening. I feel like if I tell myself that, I'm not good enough, or that's not, I'm not going to be able to do that, or if I'll put it this way, if I have low expectations, then guess what? I will exceed those expectations and I'll feel really good about them and I will be really excited. But if I don't, if I land exactly where I said I was going to land, then there's no large amount of disappointment because I had sort of planned or I had prepared myself for that. Don't do that in your life. Those are lies that you're telling yourself. If you're reading books like I am on how to change habits, how to grow, how to succeed, how to have a growth mindset, you're going to find that people are telling you to affirm yourself, say positive things, because the truth of the neuroscience of it all is that the more you think negative thoughts about yourself, the more you will begin to believe those negative thoughts. The more you believe those negative thoughts, the more you will begin to try your hardest to protect yourself from the things that you're afraid of. So then here comes that fear. So when you're protecting yourself from the things that you're afraid of, then you are going to start to believe that, and you're going to consistently protect yourself, and that is going to limit you. It's going to cause that limiting belief, and it's going to also stump your growth and prevent you from getting where it is you want to go. So how can you prevent this? Well, I've got something for you. I want you to consider getting on the wait list for Project CEO, because that is how I'm going to teach you how to be your best self, how to find confidence, how to overcome the limiting beliefs. Because guess what? You have to change the tape in your mind. You have to change the tape. As long as you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, or you're allowing other people to tell you that you're not good enough, you'll start to believe it. If you're told that enough times, you'll begin to believe it. So where do these limiting beliefs come from? I want to get into that again. So a lot of it can come from childhood. If someone told you that you weren't good enough, you couldn't do it, if they constantly said negative things or berated you or whatever, then that could have put the seed in your mind that you aren't good enough. Maybe you had a negative experience with someone. Let's say you were on the job and you kind of got embarrassed, or you felt like you were disciplined in a very harsh way, and it sort of put you back in your shell, and you're kind of afraid to come out and test the waters again. You're afraid to initiate things because now someone's told you or hurt your feelings or embarrassed you, and you're afraid to try again. Those are limiting beliefs that you're allowing someone to put on you. Lastly, it could be a social situation. Maybe you were in a social experience and someone, said or did something, and it had a negative effect on you, and now you have limiting beliefs about yourself. Wherever these limiting beliefs came from, I want you to stop lying to yourself. And inside Project CEO, we walk you through how to unpack your bag and how to repack your bag. There's a whole thing about luxury bag versus hobo bags. I love to share that story. So I want you to get on the wait list for that. Now let's move on to the next thing. All right, so we have so far talked about what limiting beliefs are. We talked about why they are so prevalent in our lives, i.e., we think negative thoughts, and then we allow those negative thoughts to turn into what it is we believe about ourselves. Now let's talk about where they come from. Well, the limiting beliefs themselves, I don't believe come from anyone in particular except ourselves. Like, we are to blame. I'm sorry to say, hate to put the blame on you, but the limiting beliefs come from ourselves because we are repeating lies that are being told to us, about us, and we shouldn't be. Now let's talk about where some of these lies are coming from. Well, number one, again, they're coming from you. You're thinking negative things about yourself. You're telling yourself negative things. You're thinking it 50,000 times a day. 95% of the same things are being thought every single day. So you, number one, are telling yourselves. But you may not be to blame for the conversation. It could be that from childhood, you are told something about yourself that you have come to believe because circumstances have sort of panned out that way. Like, you've repeated something over and over again. You've started certain habits, and certain habits have turned into lifestyles, and now you believe that that's just the way things are because that's how they've always been. So that's the first area. Y'all, my dress keeps flying up, and I'm trying to hold it down and talk to you guys at the same time, and it's not working because the wind is real. It's really blowing out here. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try to get this last few things out of the cart. Okay, so you're telling yourself certain things. Now, why are you telling yourself certain things? Well, you're telling yourself certain things because that's what was told to you. You grew up with certain conversations going on, people telling you that you were one way or another, that you could or you couldn't do something, and they were giving you all kinds of reasons why things weren't working out for you. One of the biggest things that I think, one of the biggest places that I think this happens is when you find kids whose family, no one in their family has gone to college, or no one in their family has owned a home. And just the conversation around that when someone says that they want to do it becomes very negative because it's just never been done. And that's just all out of fear. Now, as I get in the car, another area that I think these limiting beliefs are coming from are when you have negative experiences, negative encounters with people. You're out and about, maybe you were embarrassed on your job because you didn't do something right, maybe you didn't know the answer, you assumed, and you were reprimanded by it, and now you have a fear of that being repeated, so you have told yourself not to even try. You told yourself that, this is just how things are, and so you are sharing those thoughts around that particular set of circumstances with yourself, and you're repeating that over and over again. So now there is a limiting belief around that. Another area where limiting beliefs are coming from is from the media or from your social circles. Maybe you are in a group of women and you are the only African American, and you have limiting beliefs about how you have to you're not going to make it, or you're not going to get something because someone else in your group is going to get it. Maybe you have limiting beliefs because your body type is different and you believe that someone with a different body type is better than you or has more advantages than you. And so you tell yourself that the reason that you're not successful is because you have these limitations based on what you see, and you're comparing yourself. It is horrible to compare yourself to people. I've said this 1,000 times. You are as unique as a snowflake. You have very different influence, very different experiences, very different perspectives, and very different passions. There's no way you can compare yourself to anyone else because there is no one like you. But because our society dictates, that we have to look a certain way or behave a certain way or have certain thoughts or think a certain way, we've conditioned ourselves to feel bad about ourselves or say negative things about ourselves when we are not meeting that par. Well, maybe you're not supposed to meet that par. You are amazing in and of yourself. And so you shouldn't allow media or social media to be where you find your limiting beliefs or where you form these limiting beliefs. Do not listen to the hype. Don't fall for the okie-doke. Just don't believe it. Don't listen to the lie. So these are 3 areas where limiting beliefs are formed. They're formed in your childhood with negative disciplinary actions. Maybe you didn't get the emotional support that you feel that you needed. Maybe you were treated poorly and someone was just telling you that you weren't good enough. Maybe that's where your limiting belief came from. Could be your limiting belief, again, came from negative experiences. Maybe you had a bad experience and now you're believing that to be the truth about every other experience that's potentially like that. And also it could be, just social settings or social media where you're comparing yourself to other people. Well, don't do that. Again, you're believing the hype, you listen to the lies. Don't do it. Now, another place that I want to talk about, let me get going because I've got a few more errands that I need to get. And now that I have the groceries, it is 99 degrees. And the heat index, I think today is like 110. So I can't be sitting around in the car. So I might catch you back when I get home to round this out. But in the meantime, I want you to think about getting on the list for Project CEO, because limiting beliefs have to go through a process to be overcome. You can't just wish it away because your whole thought process, your whole mindset has to change. And inside Project CEO, we're doing just that. We are starting at the very beginning and getting to the root of some of the challenges that you're having, and we are moving all the way to the end where I'm showing you how to leverage the CEO that you have become over yourself to get the things that you want. So let me finish up these errands and I'll catch you back at home. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Just hold tight. I'll call you back. Okay, so when is this information that I'm sharing with you going to be relevant? Well, I've shared with you what your limiting beliefs are. I've shared with you where they come from. I've shared with you why you have these thoughts in the first place, or why you have these beliefs in the first place. And now I want to talk to you about when it's going to be relevant, when this information is going to be relevant to you. Well, it's going to be relevant when you are trying to achieve your goals. It's going to be relevant when you are looking to attain a certain level of success. It's going to be relevant on those days when you feel bad about yourself and you don't know how to pick yourself up, because limiting beliefs are like little seeds that once you've planted them by constantly saying these things to yourself or listening to the hype, the lies, when you've done that so many times, you begin to believe it. We've said that before. And now that you are in a position where this is your year, you're going to do it, you have made up your mind that you are going to do the dang thing, these limiting beliefs can creep up on you and they can make you stall. They will stall you. They will prevent you from even starting. They will get you all the way to the point of setting the goal and creating the plan, but your limiting beliefs will prevent you from taking action. And we all know that there's no way you can achieve your goal if you don't at least start, if you don't take the action. So it's going to be important. This is going to be relevant when you start to see yourself being held back, like I said, from meeting your full potential. It's going to be relevant when you see that you begin to form a fixed mindset over a growth mindset. We have talked about mindset here on this channel so many times, and I just cannot say it enough that you have to have an open mindset. The one mindset you cannot, succeed without is an open mindset. But if you get stuck with these limiting beliefs, what's going to happen is you're going to have a fixed mindset. And the definition of a fixed mindset is just basically thinking that all you have now is all you'll ever get. There's no room for improvement. There's nothing else you can do to go to the next level. Things just are what they are. It is what it is. I'm sure you've heard that little saying. It is what it is. It does not have to be. If you do not allow these limiting beliefs to overtake you, you can have a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is one where you realize that you can do whatever it is you set your mind to. You have the abilities and the understanding you need to move to the next level. You can develop. You can grow. You can move past whatever it is that is in your way. I just truly believe this. I've lived this in my own life. So don't allow those limiting beliefs to hold you back. That's when this is going to be relevant. When you find that you are stuck, look at what you're saying to yourself. Of those 50,000 thoughts you're having a day, are they negative? Are the majority of them negative? Because if they are, remember, you're repeating those things 95% of the time. You're repeating them on a daily basis. So you're believing your own lies, and you've allowed someone to creep in your mind and tell you more lies that you are thinking and then believing and allowing to form limiting beliefs. Now, we've gone through the what, we've gone through the why, we've gone through the where, we've gone through the when it's going to be relevant. Now let's talk about how to overcome them. And there is one surefire way that works every single time. And that is becoming self-aware. Now, I realize that is huge. That is like a grand statement, and it has so much underneath the surface. I mean, literally talk about the tip of the iceberg and the whole iceberg being underwater. That is exactly what self-awareness is. When someone says that, it is the tip of the iceberg. And it does require you doing a lot of work in order for you to become even somewhat self-aware. I've been doing this work since I was 30 years old, and I am proud to say that your girl will be 52 in October. So this has been a long time coming. I am not preaching. I am not telling you what I don't know. I am telling you exactly what I know because I have lived it. So take advantage of my experience and listen to me when I tell you, you need to become self-aware. That's the only way you are going to defeat the limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk, the imposter syndrome, all of those things. That is how you defeat it, by becoming self-aware. Now, outside of going to therapy and seeing a psychiatrist, I have a great plan for you. My BU method is just It does the trick. When I tell you I have been there, done that, I have a t-shirt, buttons, I've thrown parties, all of the above I have in this area. And so I am well versed. And I've created an amazing program called Project CEO. And inside Project CEO, we do the work to help you become self-aware using my BU method. Now, let me tell you what BU method is. It is living your value. And that's where we do all the self-awareness work. It's the very first part of the program. Okay. So with my new way to access the program, definitely you're going to stick around for that portion of it. So that is where we are becoming self-aware. I'm going to show you how to become self-aware, sis. And then once you live your value, I'm going to show you how to love yourself enough to be yourself. And this is where you are going to build your confidence. Now that you're self-aware, you are going to build your confidence. You're going to be able to stand on what you know to be true about you. And it's going to minimize that comparison, sis. As bosses, we cannot compare ourselves to other people because there's nobody like us. I said that earlier. So this second part of my BU method, loving yourself enough to be yourself, is where you are going to start walking more confidently. You will see the transformation where you go from hunching over, being unsure, being, self-conscious, to really morphing into this amazing, powerful, confident woman who knows her yes from her no, and there are no gray areas. You will see that transformation happening right in front of you. And then after that, the final phase of the Project CEO program is to lead with intention and purpose. This is where we are taking that newfound confident person and I'm going to show you how to leverage her across every area of your life. Okay. Because no matter what you're trying to do, you cannot be successful as long as you are trying to give out of a deficit. Yes, you may be successful in the area that you are working, but you will fail in the self-care area, in the happiness area, in the comfortable area, in the, just enjoying life area, because you're spending all of your energy on the success of your life, of your career and or business. But when you learn to leverage yourself, there's no such thing as work-life balance. I show you how to perform work-life harmony and leverage who you are across every area of your life so that you can attain the success that you're looking for without the stress and overwhelm and frustration that often happens out of the fear, out of the limiting beliefs, out of the imposter syndrome, out of the comparison. All of that is significantly minimized when you understand my BU method, and I walk you through the whole process. So go ahead, get on the wait list for Project CEO. I'm not quite sure when the doors are going to be opening because, it's a work in progress. So definitely get on the wait list so that you are the first to be notified. I'm not sharing it anywhere else but on the wait list. So if you don't get on the wait list, then you might have a situation where you need it and you don't have it because the doors have closed, or you're having to pay full price, or you're not getting access to the new way that you can access the program. So anyway, get on the wait list. And I promised you that I was going to give you something to help you along. So I do have down in the description a PDF, a little guide that will help walk you through what I just talked to you about, to sort of help you with these limiting beliefs. This is a set of questions that you can kind of follow to begin to see how to track your thoughts and really try to identify some of those recurring thoughts that are coming up so that you can nip them in the bud, maybe with a gratitude journal. One way to offset those limiting beliefs is to tackle it with a bit of gratitude. When you're thankful for what you do have, it's very hard to be upset about the things you don't have. So grab that in the description. And if you're so inclined, go ahead and add your name to the wait list for Project CEO so that you never, ever miss out on that. I think that does it for today. But hey, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell so you never miss an episode, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.